another beautiful Friday for you fellow Nigerians, and then you're welcome to State of the Nation Now with your host, Bola Fakari. As usual, on a regular basis, we come up with topical issues that can make you understand the reason why you're alive, the reason why you're a Nigerian, and the reason why life should go on. And one of the factors of life going on is the element of education. Today, we're going to delve into the factor of education as precursor to human development. I will say that again. Education as precursor to human development. Without education, we are not moving. Without education, our thinking becomes impaired. Education comes in different forms. And I can promise you one thing today. On this program, on this day, we are going to take care of everything. The understanding is going to be better. And I have none other with me in the studio than my lovely sister, Mrs. Remy Obadare. My sister, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Bakare.
She is an educationist. In actual fact, she is a head of school out there in the UK. So basically, you can be rest assured. You're going to have the best of the Nigerian education system, and you're going to get some tidbits about what happens out there in the UK that is good for us, and some of these we are doing here might be good for them too. My sister, once again, I will say welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. For starters, from the angle of an educationist, give us the meaning of that word, education.
From my own understanding and from my own knowledge of education, education means someone that can read or write in either any language, but they should be literate enough. Not just read and write, also to be morally educational, to be aware of themselves in the community. Not just because we think about education as studying. No, it's just not just studying. We get education from day-to-day lives. We get education from learning from people we see. We get education from around us, even from the government we get educated. So for me, education is everyday thing. And
Okay, thanks. Because nobody, I keep saying that on a regular basis, nobody has a prerogative of intellect. We can learn from ourselves, just like you rightly said now, that we can learn from the street, we can learn from the government, you can learn from everyday people, you can learn from the rich, the middle class, and the low class. You can learn from virtually everybody. But let us start from the angle, you're a woman, you're a mother in the house. Let us start from that angle of education that starts from the house. Let me put it in a better word, parental education. Can you give us a definition of parental education, what the parents should do, what they shouldn't do, and what parental education adds to the education of the child?
Yes. Most times parents believe that education is just basically school, and they leave everything to teachers, us.
And that is not, that's not true.
No, absolutely not, because teachers can only do what we can do from 9 to 5, and the children go home. And the most important part of it is for them to go home and learn from us. Living by example. That's the first parental education. We need to teach them to live by examples. We need to act morally in front of our children. We need to teach them the morals of life. We need to teach them how to behave in public, how to behave amongst others, how to act towards each other. That's why we have bullies in schools, because they've missed out on education at home, which is the parental education, some of them. Some parents believe they have to work, and not have time for the yes, and they can't train themselves alone. No, they cannot just rely on teachers. Teachers are there to teach them the basic English,
the academics.
Exactly, and not the morals, not the values, not the things like that. We do try to incorporate values in schools, but it's difficult. Yeah, it is very difficult because we have short hours. We have so many subjects now that we have to teach in those short hours. So to incorporate morals, to incorporate social values, we try with social studies, but still is not enough. We need parental education at home.
Thank you.
Very important.
I would still like to go ahead with that element of the mother or the parents back at home.
Yes.
You made mention of some factors that I want to touch on. The element of moral. In most cases, morals are not being gotten from the school system.
No.
It's an home thing.
It is.
Factor in again the element of spirituality. That element of spirituality, I am sure it doesn't come from the school that much. It comes from home.
Because before it used to, I mean, when we were growing up, I mean, they teach us, we go for RE lessons, but all those things are out of schools now because there's not enough time to teach children all those subjects in depth. So this comes from home. Like mommy goes to church on Sunday or goes to mosque on Friday, and they read the Quran, they read the Bible, they talk about God, they talk about why we exist. As you know, those are the things you learn from home, not school. School, they just teach you the basic English. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, that's a nice one because I am sure I am enjoying it. Your disposition, I'm enjoying it, and I am sure back at home, you are viewers too. You're enjoying it because that is the bedrock of education. It starts from the house. It is us as parents that have a big job to do. She's ahead of school. She just told us now that even those hours of 9 to 5 are not enough to teach that child most of the work. The rest of the hours the kid spends at home. So when it comes to morals, when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to all the basic things about life, it is you, the parent, that should do that.
Absolutely.
Let's move forward a little bit.
Okay.
Now we're talking about the kid starting out life. Let's say from age 1 to, may God give them long years, like 100. How do we start that element of education in their life? I know there are some instances people say they get educated from the stomach because at times they tumble, they tell their mothers, take this.
Stop it. Yeah.
But the thing is, what are the years of education?
Oh, from birth. When you have a baby, you start teaching them how to. We start teaching them how to talk.
That's right.
We start teaching them how to say "papa," "mama." We start teaching them sit. You start helping them to sit. You start teaching them to crawl, to walk. You know, it just goes on and on. Then when they start playing with each other, or when they start playing with other children, you start teaching them. No, you have to learn to share. You have to learn to play with your friends. You have to learn to, you start teaching them how to behave with other people. You start teaching them how to behave with adults. Teaching and learning is ongoing till someone dies, I think. So you have to just keep learning. You have to keep learning. And so it starts from the beginning, like from baby to whenever. You just keep learning.
Okay. Let's put in this factor of academics. Now, what years do you think the baby should leave the house, should leave the wings of the mom to say, okay, wants to go to maybe crèche or all this daycare centers and the rest of them?
I know in Nigeria now I see people taking their babies to school like 6 months, 1 year. I don't believe in that. To me, I believe they should be at home with you and you should be teaching them basic things at home at that time because there's nothing much they can learn from there. But from 3 years old, I believe they should be in school. They should be learning their phonics. They should be learning their sounds. They should be learning their alphabets and being able to be motor skills, to be able to hold pencils, able to hold cutlery and things like that. So those are the things I think at 3 years old, they should be able to do.
At that juncture, let me bring in a factor of cognitive mentality.
Yeah.
There is some school of thought that says we should allow the kids to play. When I say play 100%. Play with things, play with whatever. Because their brain is ready to assimilate. Their brains are ready to grow. Their brains can develop on their own based on because I believe in God, based on the factor of God giving them that brain. The development will come from the parent and from themselves. That is why that element of play. How do you value that element of play? In Africa, we call it, you have to play with sand,
we go to skills, and cognitive, because in the UK curriculum, we believe in learn to play. We play to learn. So we play to learn. So we are not just playing, we are playing to learn.
Okay.
So when you're playing with the sand, we are playing with the sand to let them know about texture. When you play with the clay, we are playing with the clay to let them know about different kinds of textures. We are playing, we are learning through play. So constantly, you are playing at that age, but you're still learning because you learn to hold the pen because you're playing. You write alphabet on the sand. You're learning A,
That's true.
You say then you write with the sand. So you're learning to play. So I believe in that play for that age, but in a very educational environment. Do you get what I mean? Like
Sure do.
with other children, so
I'm
they
sure
can
your
learn. Yeah.
listeners too are getting what you mean.
Yes, yes, yes. In an educational environment, not just at home at 3 years old, they should be able to mix with other children, play, learn to share, because life is about sharing. And some children don't know how to share because they start school late. So when they start school late, they can't share. They find it very difficult to share their toys. They find it very difficult to share things. Which is very hard. It's very, very hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you're telling me is just not for my consumption alone. Our viewers back at home, I'm sure they're having a great time listening to you. Let's move a little bit further. Now the kid is grown. The kid is now about 6, 7, 8. He's in, call it grade school. We call it primary school here in Nigeria. But one thing is affecting education these days. These things we call devices.
Yes.
What do you think we can do about it? Because these devices are making a mess of education, making a mess of our children. Some of them are not even, the education hasn't sunk into them. They believe more in these devices than anything else.
Yeah.
You are the head of school and educationist, for God's sake, what is your advice to parents to start with?
From my school, we don't allow it. If you bring it to school, we seize it, and parents know about it. They've signed agreement on that. We are not allowed mobile phones or any iPads. Or we allow iPads, which is the school iPad, because we use it for learning.
Educational.
Exactly, and we have strictly people monitoring it, and we have devices to pick up if you go on YouTube or things like that. So we do use iPads in school, but school made iPads. But we are not allowed mobile phones because it distracts students. It really, really distracts them, and it's taking away the joy of studying. When we were growing up, we used to enjoy studying. We used to enjoy reading books. But this has taken away all those fun. And we used to go together with friends, and we come and say, okay, let's read, let's revise together. There's nothing like that. Yeah, exactly. No, library's gone. Library's gone now.
Well, you were talking about those
days. Yeah. We used to go to the library together and have fun. But now there's nothing like that. Everybody stays on their iPads, on their phones, and research on their.
No, you see, because
it's taking away that social gathering, that social element.
That one is no longer there. Because these days, you will find in a household, there are 6 of them, 6 of them in the living room. This one is facing this way, that one is facing that way, that one, even dad, mom, first kid, second kid, even on the dining table. The mom will now say, won't you put that thing down and eat your food? I'm still throwing it back at you from the angle of a mom. What are we going to do to situations like this for those preteens and then early teens?
No, like what I advise my parents. They only have few hours during the weekends with their phone. So after that, they take their phone from even iPads. I told my parents on weekends, yes, they're allowed on Saturdays maybe for 4 hours. Yeah, they can play with it. And after that, you take, because even the eyesight, there are so many reasons that you don't want them to be glued to this phones and iPads and all these things. So, I mean, I always tell my parents, don't let them get addicted to it. This is the same thing we're coming back to, parental.
That's right.
Parental education.
That's right.
So this is where you come in as a parent. Like, okay, so you only have 4 hours on a Saturday with your phone, and that's it. Even with the games, they play all this PSP, all this. Okay, you only have 1 hour.
You
only have 1 hour. You only have 1 hour of that. So they'll know. That's education. You've trained them, so they'll know they cannot go beyond that boundary. So it's not just school that we train them that, okay, no, you're not. No, even at home, I know that, okay, mommy will not allow that. So,
okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Mommy has already laid the stamp on that.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a no-go zone. Let's now move with the kids and the years. Now we've moved away from preteens to, let's say, like teens. Education these days. It is a known fact world over right now that most schools do not teach the students how to work or how to live. They are being taught how to become employees.
Yes.
Employees. You see, they go to school, oh, I have a master's, I have this. The only thing they know how to write is CVs. They write your CV, submit to 20 companies with the hope that you will get a job. For God's sake. what is the essence of going to school and getting an education if you cannot help yourself and help the society? What do you think along those lines? Are we missing it somewhere that we're not teaching them that? How to be self-sufficient?
We are teaching them money matters, even from early age. We do that, money matters. It's part of the curriculum, even in the math as well. How to get £1 and change it to £5 and how to make money. And we have enterprise days. We do enterprise days where students will bring things and sell, so they'll know that they can do buying and selling. Exactly. You can choose whatever you want to sell. You make it at home and bring it. We have those days to encourage students and to make sure that they're aware that it's not just being an employee. You can be someone that employs. Employer. So I mean, we do that, but the system, the way the education system has been built, is more of being an employee in the sense that go get a job. Yes,
get a job somewhere.
They will train you how to do it, get an interview done. They will train you how to write your CVs.
That's the factor of being particular about. Because if we keep doing that, I guess we're in trouble. For one good reason, AI is coming in now. Jobs are going to be lost on a large scale.
Yes.
What are we going? Because you and I, we are going to be around, because by God's grace, we should be around for the next 10, 20 years. We're going to be around when AI becomes it. And most of all these kids will not have jobs.
True. That's what is happening.
What do you think should be our mentality as parents? What do you think should be our mentality as educationists, which you are? To kind of inculcate them to start thinking along lines that will be personally beneficiary to start with and communally beneficial.
For me, as an educationalist, I believe that we should incorporate more technical into the education system.
Okay, skill acquisition.
Exactly, because even if education fails, which, like you say, if I will come now, everybody, they will lose their job. They will have something they can do with their hands. Right. So if it's cooking, if it's hairdressing, if it's a lady, if it's carpentry, if it's a man, at least they're bringing in money.
It's not everything AI can do. AI can come up with a design.
Exactly.
It takes a human being to put it
implement it. Exactly. So I mean, things like that. So I believe we should incorporate more technical into the last few years of secondary schools to help students, even if they decide they don't want to study anymore or go to higher education, universities, they can still have the technical parts that they can fall back to.
Right.
Even if you want to go into higher education, but you still have that technical part to fall back to. I believe they should incorporate that more into education system.
Thank you. I can tell you this for free. In Nigeria, we have one thing we call 6334. 6 years for primary education. Then we have what we call the JSS, which is 1, 2, 3. Then the SSS 1, 2, 3. Then your 4, your tertiary institution. I am from the school of thought that says education is primary and secondary. When it comes to tertiary, is specialization. But the thing is, like you rightly said, now we are falling short of that element of skill acquisition. Which was the reason why Nigeria set up 6334. If you feel you're not too good with your
education,
for God's sake, you can bear a little bit and then go into skill acquisition. But I guess I'm a positive thinker. We will get there eventually. But with parents like you, as mothers, as educationists, talking to us on a regular basis, I guess we learn from ourselves. We'll keep learning on a regular basis. On this note, I would like to say one big thank you for gracing the occasion. And to you, our viewers back at home, that is Mrs. Remy Obadari. She's the head of school out there in the UK, but first and foremost, she's a Nigerian. She's a Lagosian. She's even from Lagos Island, which makes her my sister. And makes it more interesting for having you on this program.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.
And to you, our viewers back at home, it is your favorite program, State of the Nation Now. We'll take a break now, and then we'll come back shortly. To you, our lovely viewers back at home, by this time next week, we shall bring you another fantastic program about topical issues that affects you as a person, affects you as a Nigerian, affects you as an African and a member of the global committee. Don't miss it, because it's going to be interesting, educative, and more. It's going to be straight at the point that you can learn from. And from me, your host, Bola Bakare, I would like to say thank you for staying with us. Have a great day.